I'm here with Alan Thrasher. My name is Mimi Huberman, and I'm here, Alan, to really hear some of the ways, perspectives that you have on health that are just so unique. You know, there's so many different things out there, and nobody knows exactly what to do. I should do this, I should do that. But you have a unique way of connecting the dots from one thing to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And how I'd really like to approach this conversation was from the perspective of autism. I know that you're working with somebody who started about 6 weeks ago who's autistic and has had some amazing results. So why don't we start there?
Okay.
What did you notice? What did you see? What have you come up with?
Well, for the most part, when people come into my office, I take this unique perspective that if they're breathing and walking, they're not broken.
Okay.
So most people go to doctors and other specialists to be fixed, get rid of my pain or whatever. If you're walking into my office and you're breathing, you're not broken. In fact, your brain doesn't care what you look like. It just has to keep breathing. It's part of survival.
Right.
So I always take the case that if he's breathing, he's surviving something.
Okay.
And I shouldn't try to mess with that or alter that.
Okay, so then how does his mother,
Mm-hmm.
as an example, work with him, if you're taking that perspective, work with him in such a way where they can communicate with each other inside of this society called doesn't speak generally.
Okay. Well, he does, just not the way we're used to.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm saying, is we make these assumptions like he doesn't speak, there's something wrong. No, he speaks, just not the way we do.
Okay.
And every time we make these assumptions, we actually jump the gun. We make these assumptions and then experiment. Oh, let's try that. And we throw spaghetti up against the wall. Hopefully it will stick. That's how medicine is practiced today. Is I don't know what's going to happen. I'll just try this. And I know it worked for 20 other people, but, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the first person in that line.
Exactly. So what I do is I very simply, first of all, I have a conversation with the mother. To have her get, the brain doesn't care what he looks like or like the person looks like. The brain cares about three things: heartbeat, breathing, and standing. Standing is optional because how many people are in wheelchairs?
Right.
Really, it's about posture. And when they can kind of get that their son or daughter's okay, and what there is to do is create new brain patterns. Well, that's a whole new game. Because now I don't worry about what to fix. I worry about how do we create new motion, how do we create new movement, how do we create new energy pathways, what do we put into the body to have the brain go this way versus that way.
Yeah, that's opening up a whole new world.
Exactly.
Because included in that would be, if that's what I'm going to be endeavoring to do, is how do I support that on the outside, whether it's nutrition or exercise or a myriad or meditation. Like there's 5 million different ways you can support that.
What it comes down to is two things. Does your environment allow you to adapt differently? So if I want to walk, right? If I want to walk, do I practice walking every day? Do I practice crawling? Most people don't realize you begin to walk when you crawl, so can you crawl properly? And most people who can't have trouble with gait, their breakdown is in crawling. They've lost the ability to crawl. And it sounds funny, but that's how babies develop.
Never thought of that before.
Babies develop by, what's this? And experimenting with, trying to figure out where space is around them. So they learn to crawl, they grab things. But if at any point that stops, they develop limitations later on. most people don't realize the diseases or issues that we have probably started when they're younger. And they show up now because the body can't do anything else.
Right, so it's an accumulation.
It's accumulation of programming. So what I'm saying is...
So, but correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong because I'm not as familiar with autism as maybe I should be, but is autism something you're born with or something that is an accumulation of programming?
You know, from the stuff that I've read lately, I just begin working with them. I heard it was acquired. I've read that it's acquired. Like they're born normally and then something happens. And there's a lot of theories about, you know, flu
born
shots.
Normally and then something happens.
Yeah, so there's a lot of theories about flu shots causing the damage.
Right.
There's a lot of toxic build-up stories about, you know, and no one really knows. There's just a lot of speculation at this point.
Okay.
When this boy came into me, all I focused on was what he said.
And it's not so much what he said, because we already know that he can't communicate verbally. He spells on a board. He spells out his words.
He
Yes.
spells on his board. And he said, by typing, he said, I want control of my body. And you know what? From a muscle activation perspective, muscles control joint motion. Muscles control posture 24 hours a day. So if he feels that out of control, his muscles have a lot to do about it.
Right.
His muscles' response have a lot to do about it.
So are his muscles responding to something his brain wants to do, almost like a fight or flight action?
No, his muscles aren't responding. That's the problem.
Okay, they're not responding.
He's like walking around so unstable where he's got tightness in one area, looseness in another, and his brain's just trying to figure out how to balance it so he doesn't fall.
Interesting.
Which that gives him the experience of not being in control. So I've been working with him for 6 weeks, and all I've been focusing on is, can he move this way? Can he move this way? And I'm looking for restrictions in motion, because that means typically that means muscles don't work when you're restricted or tight.
Right.
So, then I activated them, and I activated them around his left shoulder. And for the first time ever, he sat for 2 hours, did a whole puzzle. He didn't react. He was comfortable, and he said he felt in control for the first time.
And how does he normally behave?
He's always up and down. He can't control where he looks. He was screaming sometimes. Now
Like he doesn't sit still type
no,
of thing,
he doesn't sit still.
And he sat for 2 hours.
He sat for 2 hours. And now that may not seem like a big deal to us on the outside, because we want him to look the way he looked before the accident. That's part of the problem with healthcare, is we're trying to get back to the way we were.
Instead of building on now.
Versus what we're building on now, you know. But it didn't matter to him, because he was calm and stable. And he goes, I feel in control, I feel great. And he even got me a magic man. Because no one up until this point has made that kind of difference. He feels stronger when he works with everyone else, but he still feels out of control.
Right.
This muscle activation has allowed him to feel in control for the first time in a long time.
That is so extraordinary. I thank you. We can go on and on talking about Jordan and the difference that you've made for him. But I think we'll continue on in another video, because we don't want to overwhelm our listeners too much.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you and be in conversation. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Thank you.